Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears.
Mm.
Yes, yes. We've already
What is your path to Dharma?
It's been a couple weeks,
Yep.
and here we are finding ourselves, Canto 3, Chapter 3, Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome to our channel, Path to Dharma. I'm Shannon. This is my beautiful daughter, Shay, and we are really excited to get back to reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We've been studying. We have been integrating. We've taken a
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks off. It was my birthday. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. And we're ready to really dig into it. The title of chapter 3 is The Lord's Pastimes out of Vrindavan. And I'm
Woo.
really excited. I've kind of paged through the first couple pages, so I did not peek too much. But
Uh-huh.
how have you been, Shay, before we get going? How are you?
I'm good. Living deep in the Kali Yuga is an experience within
Mm,
itself, isn't it? So I'm good. My
yeah,
soul is good, and I'm
yeah.
progressing. So that's positive. And really everything's for us and everything's positive. But how are you?
Everything is. And I just want to say Hare Krishna. And
Hare
I
Krishna.
just want to thank Krishna for his presence in my life. He's been epically important right now. And just as this episode is titled The Lord's Pastimes, I feel like Krishna has been my pastime
Mm.
nonstop lately, where he's just been on my mind day and night. Just been singing his praises, listening to his songs, reading stories about him. And I'm so enthralled and overtaken still. And I'm slightly
Mm-hmm.
shocked that I still feel this way, how many months in?
Right.
But it doesn't seem to be easing up. If anything, it seems to be getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I am again always so excited to be here to talk about this because it's such an experience, and to go through it alone is pretty intense. So it's a blessing to do it with you.
Mm.
To all those that are watching and listening and commenting, it's actually amazing that you're part of our journey, and we're so
Yeah.
grateful for you. You don't know how much you've helped us think about things in ways we hadn't, or send us to different things to read and watch, or even question us or push back on what we're saying, or tell us we're wrong or tell us we're right. All of those things have been so precious. So
They
um,
have.
I'm grateful to be here tonight with you. And
Mm.
that's it.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mm.
Hare Krishna. I'm so excited to begin. I've been anxiously awaiting this next chapter. So, before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. In loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, and here we
Here
go.
we go. Om
Canto?
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let me add
Yes.
that.
Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, part 1, chapter 3, text 1. Do you want to begin or do you want me to?
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
You go ahead.
Okay. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter, Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Sri Baladeva, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. Okay, so this is going to back up to when Krishna leaves Vrindavan. He knows he has a mission. He basically is going to go rescue his parents out of the prison of Kamsa, and they kill Kamsa,
Okay. Yep.
right? So that's who Sri Baladeva is. Balrama. Yeah, his brother.
I think so. I don't
I
know.
I believe so. Well, you know um the story of essentially when he goes and rescues his parents out of Kamsa's prison because
Yes.
Devaki's been in there having baby after baby. And eventually he
Yes.
goes and rescues them.
Okay. Yep. Text two. I'm sure we'll hear more of the backstory in this too. We'll see. Text two. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipani Muni, whom he awarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka.
That's amazing. He learned them one time. He heard them and remembered, of course. Well,
Yeah.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar.
Mm.
Ah, I love this. Can we just stop and chat a second about the wives of Krishna?
Yeah.
So I looked that up before we came on here, and I actually asked Chat GPT to tell me who were the wives of Krishna, and it popped out 8 wives. And I didn't bring that device in here. I was planning on reading it. It's in the other room. I don't know if you have something close by that you could pop that up for us,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we know Rukmini's the first wife, and um there's this whole tradition of like stealing the bride, and I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure how that works, but it was consensual. She wanted him to do this. And actually she is said to be the um embodiment, the what am I trying to say? Avatar for Lakshmi.
Okay.
So she was meant to be his wife, but he has 8 wives. Do you see them?
Yes, I do. I do. Yes, Rukmini is the first one, often considered his chief consort.
Okay.
Um, yeah, their marriage is seen as the epitome of love and devotion. And then we have Satyabhama, then we have Jambavati, then we have Kalindi, who is
Mhm.
the daughter of the sun god. We have Mitravinda, the princess of Avanti and Krishna's cousin. We have Nagajiti, Satya, it says in parentheses. We have Bhadra, another cousin of Krishna. And then we have Lakshmana, the princess of Madra.
And then wasn't there a bunch of like 12, 16,000 other wives? We're
Yeah.
gonna,
In addition to these 8 principal wives, Krishna is said to have married 16,100 women who were held captive by the demon Narakasura.
remember we already read that scene
Yeah.
in Canto 2, right?
Yes. After Krishna liberated them, they chose to marry him and he
Right.
accepted them to protect their honor and ensure their social status. Yep.
Okay, super interesting. What's the significance of the 8 wives, I wonder?
Oh, yeah.
Does the number 8 mean something? Is there something we're
I
supposed
mean,
to take?
infinity, right? And when you
Yeah,
think about
maybe.
108, oneness, nothingness, infinity.
Maybe. Okay, where are we? Text.
Four, text four.
I just read 3, so you're on 4.
By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagajiti in the open competition to select her bridegroom.
Okay.
Although Lord, although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he was not hurt himself.
Okay, so that was how he got one of his other wives.
Ah, I'm seeing.
Nagnajiti. Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Text 5. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, wow, it says in parentheses, henpecked as he was.
What does
So
that really mean?
henpacked, where it's like your wife is kind of the boss of you. Basically, you do what she says.
Oh, okay.
Indra, induced by his wives, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him.
Oh. Narakasura, the son of Dariti, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narakasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon.
Ah, so we're just
Narakasura? Narakasura.
no Rakasura. Okay. There in the house of the demon, all the princesses kidnapped by Narakasura at once became alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy, and shyness, and offered to be his wives.
So here it says
Okay, so there they
16,000
are.
other.
There they
Mhm.
are. Okay.
All those princesses were lodged into different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hand in
Beautiful.
perfect rituals by his eternal potency.
Wow. So he just became 16,000 of himself.
Yep.
Beautiful. Just to expand himself according to his transcendental features. The Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offspring with exactly his own quality.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
there's
Okay. That's amazing.
a bunch of his babies out there
A
too.
lot. That's a bunch.
That's like what, 160,000?
Are they like involved in the later what happens to his kingdom? They must be.
Yeah, I don't
That's a
know.
lot of people. That's a lot of babies.
That's a lot of babies.
Yeah.
Okay, text 10. Kalayanavana, the king of Magadha and Salva, attacked the city of Mathura, but then the city was encircled by their soldiers. The Lord refrained from killing them personally just to show the power of his own men.
Of kings like Sambara, Dvedvida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons, such as Dantravakra. Some he killed himself, and some he caused to be killed by others.
Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of the fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the war field.
Okay, this is a very like high level overview, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Okay, it is kind of nice. So this is answering Vidura's question. Okay. Text 13. Duryodhana, Dur
Durodna?
yeah, Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dusana, and Saubala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. Remember that scene of Karna dying?
No, not really.
I thought, didn't we watch that scene? Didn't he show up? Wasn't that Karna who died? Or was that,
I
am I
think that was Beam.
picturing? Oh, yeah. It
Yeah, I don't.
probably was. It probably was. It was. It was. It was Bhishma.
Yes.
No, it was,
Bhima.
yeah. Was it? No, Beam doesn't die
Ah,
there.
I
Um,
know the image of the
it was
person in my head.
Dhritarashtra. It was Dhritarashtra? No.
When he comes at him with the wheel.
It's a I thought it was Karna. Anyway,
I don't think it's
we're gonna go
Karna.
back. Tell us in the comments. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Again, this is why we need the chart. We need to make a chart.
Yeah, really.
Okay,
Tec
anyhow, that's
Text 14.
beside the point.
After the end of the battle of the Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Aksahinis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden.
Okay, so then when they quarrel amongst themselves induced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. So basically, they can't be destroyed. They're going to be too strong. The only way they can be destroyed is to take their own selves out.
Right.
And
Which is
that was the plan actually all along.
right. Right. Lord Sri Krishna, thus thinking to himself, established Maharaja Yudhisthira in the position of supreme control of the world in order to show the ideal of administration on the play of piety.
The embryo of Puru's descendant, begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burnt by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord.
Okay, this is when the nuclear bomb
Yeah.
went off.
Yes.
And Krishna goes into the heart of the embryo. Okay.
Remember he shrunk down to like a mini Krishna?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Okay.
Okay, text 18. The Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices, and Maharaja Yudhisthira, constantly following Krishna, the personality of Godhead, protected and enjoyed the earth, assisted by his younger brothers.
Simultaneously, the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy.
He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarine words, and his flawless character.
The Lord enjoyed his pastimes both in this world and in other worlds, specifically in the association of the Yadu dynasty. At leisure hours offered by night, he enjoyed the friendship of conjugal love with women. Wow, he was living it up in Dwarka. Krishna. Let's go, Krishna.
As one should.
Right?
Text 22. The Lord was thus engaged in household life for many, many years, but at last his detachment from how do I say this word?
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral. What does that mean?
Okay, well, it seems like in this particular context, when it's saying from ephemeral sex life, it's like basically how you're so engrossed in it.
Okay.
It basically is like almost like a spiritual.
Okay. The
Read the
Lord, yes, the Lord was thus engaged in household life for many, many
Yeah.
years, but at last his detachment from ephemeral sex life was fully manifested.
I mean, he got distracted by that, it sounds like. Quite understandably so. In the human body, isn't that part of why he incarnated?
Right.
To experience everything as the human body experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every living entity is controlled by a supernatural force, and thus his sense enjoyment is also under the control of that supernatural force. No one, therefore, can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service.
Okay, can we read that again?
Yeah, okay. Every living entity is controlled by a supernatural force, and thus his sense enjoyment is also under the control of that supernatural force. Okay, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
All right. No one, therefore, can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service.
Okay.
So saying you can't put your faith in that unless you become a devotee,
Okay. Yep.
basically.
Yep.
It does make sense of kind of what it's saying, really to understand what we're reading and what is happening. Part of what we read at the very beginning was you should read this from beginning to end, don't skip around,
Right.
so that you can understand it. And I think this is maybe partially kind of pointing to that idea. As you become a devotee, as you render devotional service, it's easier to understand.
And
that's already happening to us.
right. And I think part of it is that remembrance of like, we can't really understand this anyway. And so,
Yes.
you can't put your faith in it unless you are a
Yes.
pure devotee.
Yes. Yes. Very
Okay.
well said. Well said. Okay.
That makes sense. Text 24. Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by the sporting activities of the princely descendants of the Yadu and Boja dynasties, and thus, as desired by the Lord, the sages cursed them.
After arriving there, no, sorry, a few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vrishni, Boha, and Andaka, who were incarnations of demigods, went to Prabhasa, while those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave but remained in Dvarka. Oh,
Hmm.
wow. Okay. So the demigods got out of Dodge,
Yeah.
basically. They got out of town, so to speak,
Yeah.
because some stuff was about to go down. The devotees, the eternal devotees stick around.
After arriving there, all of them took bath, and with the water of this place of pilgrimage, they offered their respect to the forefathers, demigods, and great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows to the Brahmins in royal charity.
Okay. Text 27. The Brahmanas were not only given well fed cows in charity, but also gold coins, bedding, clothing, animal skin seats, blankets, horses, elephants, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance.
Okay. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmins highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to the personality of Godhead, and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmins.
Okay. That thus ends the third canto, chapter 3, which we are, I assume, going on to chapter 4. That's
Yeah,
okay. So that was
that's
definitely kind of an overview. So
that was kind of
after
nice, actually.
after the war, things probably settle back down in Dvarka. The demigods take off, and we're then just kind of ticking down the last, what, 36 years,
Right.
more before Krishna leaves the earth, and then the Yadu dynasty implodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are, chapter 4, Srimad Bhagavatam. Vidura approaches Maitreya.
Text 1.
Text 1. Was that
What?
my was that
Yep.
me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thereafter, all of them, the descendants of Rishni and Boha, being permitted by the Brahmanas, partook of the remnants of the prasada and also drank liquor made of rice. By drinking, they all became delirious, and bereft of knowledge, they touched the cores of each other's hearts with harsh words.
Oh,
Hmm. The alcohol will do that.
yes.
Yeah.
A tale as old as time, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so.
Text 2.
Yeah.
As by the friction of bamboos, destruction takes place, so also at sunset, by the
Mm.
interaction of the fault of intoxication, all their minds became unbalanced and destruction took place.
Do you think that the universe gathered around to see the destruction occur? Do you know what I'm saying? Can you imagine what that battle looked like?
Right.
The Yadus? Wow. Text 3. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, after foreseeing the end of his family by his internal potency, went to the bank of the river Sarasvati, sipped water, and sat down underneath a tree.
Mhm.
Okay, because he knows what's coming, right?
Yeah.
After foreseeing the end. So this is actually like before the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Text 4.
Hmm.
The Lord is the vanquisher of the distresses of one who was surrendered unto him. Thus he who desired to destroy his family told me previously to go back to Badarikasrama.
Yet, in spite of my knowing his desire to destroy the dynasty, O Arundama, Vidura, I followed him because it was impossible for me to bear separation from the
Mm.
lotus feet of the master.
Okay, remind me who's actually
Yeah,
talking right
who's
now.
talking here? I don't know either. I don't know either.
Is it Udava? Kind of seems like it.
It seems like it. Udava. Yeah. Yes.
I think so,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Text 6. Thus following, I saw my patron and master, Lord Sri Krishna, sitting alone and deeply thinking, taking shelter on the bank of the river Saraswati, although he is the shelter of the goddess of fortune.
The Lord's body is blackish, but he's eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and very, very beautiful. His eyes are always peaceful, and they are reddish like the rising morning sun. I could immediately recognize him as the supreme personality of Godhead by his four hands, different symbolic representation, and yellow silk garments. Mm,
They say this many times about him having blackish skin, and I'm just
yeah.
wondering why he's depicted as being blue.
Sometimes you do see him being depicted black, though. Some of the paintings, when I was doing some of those videos I was looking through, you do see that. And I
Yeah.
think also there's different descriptions of the
Mm.
blue, like him being the color of the sky or the color of
Mm.
clouds or something like that. So help us out in the comments and answer us on that. Sometimes we see him or hear him as blue, sometimes as black. Um, Deep dark color, I think, is what I'm picturing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, text 8. The Lord was sitting taking rest against a young banyan tree, with his right with his right lotus foot on his left thigh. And although he had left all household comforts, he looked quite cheerful in that position, in that posture.
At that time, after traveling in many parts of the world, Maitreya, a great devotee of the Lord and a friend and well wisher of the great sage Krishna Krishna Vipanyana
Mm-hmm.
Vyasa, reached out reached that spot out of his own perfect accord. Okay, so I just really messed up the words there, but I think what it is saying. At that time, after traveling in many parts of the world, Maitreya, a great devotee and Lord of the Lord and a friend and well-wisher of Krishna, reached that spot out of his own perfect accord. So
Yeah.
basically, he walks up on the scene. Okay.
Yeah. Maitreya Muni was greatly attached to him, the Lord, and he was listening in a pleasing attitude with his shoulder lowered. With a smile and a particular glance upon me, having allowed me to rest, the Lord spoke as follows.
Okay.
Love when the Lord speaks.
So Krishna is about to speak.
Text 11.
Text 11. Oh, Vasu, I know from within your mind what you desired in the days of yore, when the Vasus and other demigods responsible for expanding the universal affairs performed sacrifices. You particularly desired to achieve my association. This is very difficult to obtain for others, but I award it unto you. Ugh.
O honest one, your present life is the last and supermost because in this term of life you have been awarded my
Mm.
ultimate favor. Now you can go to my transcendental abode, Vakunta, by leaving this universe of conditioned living entities. Your visit to me in this lonely place because of your pure and unflinching devotional service is a great boon for
Mm,
you.
beautiful.
What exactly is a boon?
It's like a blessing. It's like a gift.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Oh, Uddhava, in the lotus millennium of the days of yore, at the beginning of the creation, I spoke unto Brahma, who is situated on the lotus that grows out of my navel, about my transcendental glories, which the great sages describe as Srimad Bhagavatam.
I love that I know that's about him
That's so
talking to
good.
Brahma.
It's so good.
Text 14, Uddhava said, O Vidura, when I was thus favored at every moment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and addressed by him with great affection, my words failed in tears, and the hairs of my body erupted. After smearing my tears, I, with folded hands, spoke like this.
I mean, he literally just found out he's done and he gets to go live in heaven with Krishna after this.
Pretty huge.
Wow. And this is what he says. He says, "Oh, my Lord, devotees who engage in the transcendental loving service of your lotus feet have no difficulty in achieving anything within the realm of the four principles of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification and liberation. But, O great one, as far as I am concerned, I have preferred only to engage in the loving service of your lotus feet. I feel
Mm.
that. I feel that. I love that. So he's like, you can basically do and have anything, but I just want to be here with you.
Yeah.
I feel that. That's kind of what I was saying at the beginning about like Krishna is my only pastime right now. I just want to lay at his feet. I feel this.
Yeah.
I,
His presence is here and real.
yeah.
Text 16. My lord, even the learned sages become disturbed in their intelligence when they see that
Mm.
your greatness engages in fruitive work, although you are free from all desires, that you take birth, although you are unborn, that you flee out of fear of the enemy and take shelter in a fort, although you are the controller of invincible time, and that you enjoy householder life surrounded by many women, although you enjoy in yourself.
Yeah. Amazing, actually. All of that. I agree with all that.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord, your eternal self is never divided by the influence of time, and there is no limitation to your perfect knowledge. Thus, you were sufficiently able to consult with yourself, yet you called upon me for consultation, as if bewildered, although you are never bewildered. And this act of yours bewilders me. I bet, I bet he's having his mind blown like utterly
Yeah.
right now. And he's basically like, wow,
As one would if this was happening to you,
what
my
is even
goodness.
happening? Right.
My lord, kindly explain to us, if you think us competent to receive it, that transcendental knowledge which gives the enlightenment about yourself and which you explained before to Brahmaji.
Text 19. When I thus expressed my heartfelt desires unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the lotus eyed Lord instructed me about his transcendental
Woo!
situation. Aye, let's go.
I know, I have studied the path of understanding self knowledge from my spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, and thus, after circumambulating him, I have
Circumambulating. There's a word.
circum circumambulating him, I have come to this place, very much aggrieved due to separation.
Mm. My dear Vidura, now I am mad for want of the pleasure of seeing him. And just to mitigate this, I am now proceeding to Bhattacharasama in the Himalayas for association, as I have been instructed by him. Okay, so he's
Mm,
headed out to the mountains. He's going into the
yeah.
Himalaya. Okay.
There in Sarama, the personality of Godhead, in his incarnation of the sages Nara and Narayan, has been undergoing great penance since time immemorial for the welfare of all amiable living entities.
Wow. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, after hearing from Uddhava about all the annihilation of his friends and relatives, the learned Vidura pacified his overwhelming bereavement by dint of his transcendental knowledge. Wow. Now we're back in this conversation up like three people back to by Sukadeva Goswami,
Yeah,
who's telling us what Uddhava said to Vidura.
right.
Yes?
I
Yes,
believe
okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. While Uddhava, the chief and most confidential among the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and
Mm,
confidence, questioned him.
right. Vidura said, O Uddhava, because the servants of Vishnu, the Lord, wander in the interest of serving others, it is quite fit that you kindly describe the self-knowledge with which you have been enlightened by the Lord himself.
Yes,
Do
it is
tell,
quite fit. It
Vidura
is quite
says.
fit. It is
Please do
quite fit.
tell, do tell.
Tell us, Uddhava. Sri Uddhava said, you may take lessons from the great learned sage Maitreya, who is nearby and who is worshipable
Mm.
for a reception of transcendental knowledge. He was directly instructed by the personality of Godhead while he was about to quit his mortal world.
Okay. He's probably like, where is he? I'm heading to that tree. I want to go
Yep.
head down there and here too. Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, qualities, etc., on the bank of the Yamuna. Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away. Yeah, you would sit there and have your mind blown for quite a while. You probably would just sit there and be like, what just happened?
Right. So Uddhava told them, go find Maitreya.
Yeah,
And he's telling Vidura this, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. I got this straight, I think, in my head. Text 28. The king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the appearance of the members of the
Af-
Vrishni.
After the disappearance.
Okay. The king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of the members of the Vrishni and Boha dynasties, who were the best of the great commanders? Why did Uddhava alone remain?
Sukadeva Goswami replied, my dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea, but the actual fact was the supreme desire of the Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of the earth after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. He thought to himself as follows. Okay, so that kind of, I think, answers my question where I'm like, is there that many people? And he said, it seems like it.
Yeah,
Yes.
excessive.
He's taking everyone's going to him and
Yep.
everyone else. Yeah.
And so he's waiting for all of to dispatch all the others
Right.
before he goes.
And he thought to himself as follows.
Now I shall leave the vision of this mundane world, and I see that Uddhava, the foremost of my devotees, is the only one who can be directly entrusted with knowledge about me.
Wow.
Okay,
Uddhava
Uddhava.
Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Is he like one of the
A
immortal
big,
people?
that's a big,
Is
that's a
he
big task.
is he an
I don't
immortal
know.
person?
I don't know.
Maybe. He's not affected by the modes of material nature and he may remain in this world. Okay,
It says in the purport, just as I quickly like scan
uh-huh.
that he's a Jivan Mukta. He's liberated, even though he is a parent. Uh, he's able to attain this transcendental qualification. He's liberated, even though he's apparently in material conditions.
Interesting. Okay,
Okay.
go on to text 32.
Sukadeva Goswami informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Bada Rika Srama and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord.
Okay. Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, the supersoul, in the mortal world, which is a subject matter sought after with great perseverance by great sages, no doubt.
About the appearance and the disappearance in
Yes,
the
the
mortal.
appearance and the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Yes.
So all the past. Okay.
Yeah.
The Lord's glorious acts and his acceptance of various transcendental forms for the performance of extraordinary pastimes in the mortal world are very difficult for anyone other than his devotees to
Mm.
understand, and for the beasts they are simply a mental disturbance.
Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting the world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. Ah, right? He found out that he was remembered by Krishna while Krishna was dying, that he talked about Vidura. So like, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Of course
huge.
he was overwhelmed. Of course. He'd be freaking out. Yeah. Absolutely.
He thought of him in his last moment,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Wow. No doubt.
After
Hmm.
passing a last one, this went by fast.
Yeah, it did.
After passing a few days on the bank of the river Yamuna, Vidura, the self-realized soul, reached the bank of the Ganges, where the great sage Maitreya was situated.
Ah, we have to keep going to do one more. We have to.
Yeah, sure, let's do one more.
Let's do
Why not?
chapter 5 because Vidura talks with Maitreya is where we're going, and I need to find out what happens.
It looks like it might be a long one, but
Okay, we're going for it. chapter 5, text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, Vidura, the best among the Kuru dynasty, who was in perfect devotional service to the Lord, thus reached the source of the celestial Ganges River, where Maitreya, the great fathomless, learned sage of the world, was seated. Vidura, who was perfect in gentleness and satisfied in transcendence, inquired from him. Okay, so it's yes. Okay. So he was sent to find Maitreya. He does, and he does. So Vidura goes and finds him.
And Maitreya is going to give him all the knowledge that he
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah.
Vidura said, O great sage, everyone in this world engages in fruitive activities to attain happiness, but one finds neither satiation nor the mitigation of distress. On the contrary, one is only aggravated by such activities.
Yeah.
Please, therefore, give us directions on how one should live for real happiness.
Please. Please,
Text
please.
3.
Oh, my Lord, great philanthropic souls traveled on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord.
Therefore, O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, so that he who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within the knowledge of absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service.
O great sage, kindly narrate how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the independent, desireless Lord of the three worlds and the controller of all energies, accepts incarnations and creates the cosmic manifestation with perfectly arranged regulative principles for its maintenance. Yeah, how does he? How does he do it?
He lies down on his own heart spread in the form of the sky, and thus placing the whole creation in that space, he expands himself into many living entities, which are manifested as different species of life. He does not have to endeavor for his own maintenance, because he is the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Thus, he is distinct from the living entities.
Wow, I'm like stunned by that for some reason. He lies down on
On his
his
own
own
heart.
heart, spread in the form of the sky, and thus placing the whole creation in that space, he expands himself into many living entities. Wow. That's
Which are
it just
manifested of different species of life.
wow. It just gave me like the most amazing visual when you read it the first time. That's incredible. And I know we've already read in Canto 2 about the cosmic manifestation, but something about lies down on his own heart. Ugh, why is that good? I feel it's
Yeah,
like my heart burns a little when I
that's
read
a good
that.
that's a good that's a good one.
It's a good one.
I mean, even he does not have to endeavor for his maintenance because he is the master of all mystic powers and the proprietor of everything. Though he is manifested as the living entities himself.
Mm, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to wrap the mind around, but yet at the same
And we
time,
can't.
we
And we
can't, we
can't.
can't. But like the energetic kind of description of what I'm feeling here is just incredible.
Yeah, it's
Text
good.
7. You may narrate also about the auspicious characteristics of the Lord in his different incarnations for the welfare of the twice born, the cows, and the demigods. Our minds are never satisfied completely, although we continuously hear of his
Mhm.
transcendental activities. It's so true. Tell me more.
The supreme king of all kings has created different planets and places of habitation. Okay, let me start over. The Supreme King of all kings has created different planets and places of habitation,
Mm.
where living entities are situated in terms of the modes of nature and work, and he has created their different kings and rulers.
And I just think of that part in the Gita where he's talking about, and I do this with only a fraction of my energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? This isn't even all of his energy.
Right. And the earth, I mean, we're born out of his navel.
Ugh. 9. O chief amongst the Brahmanas, Please also describe how Narayan, the creator of the universe and the self-sufficient Lord, has differently created the natures, activities, forms, features, and names of the different living creatures.
Oh, my lord, I have repeatedly heard about these higher and lower stratuses of human society from the mouth of Vasudev, and I am quite satisfied with all these lesser subject matters and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna.
Same. Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees? Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears.
Mm.
Yes, we've already seen that happen where people have just severed their connection to their family and walked off down to a river or walked off into the
Yep,
mountain. Right.
yep. Your friend, the great sage Krishna Vyasa, has already described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work with the Mahabharata. But the
Hmm.
whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of people to Krishna, Katha, Bhagavad Gita through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics.
Okay. For one who is anxious to engage constantly in hearing such topics, Krishna gradually increases his indifference toward all other things. Such constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna by the devotee who has achieved transcendental bliss vanquishes all his miseries without delay. You can't hear it right now, but it just thundered. It just like lightning thundered outside. As soon as I sat down, it just seems like perfect. Yes.
Wow.
Mm,
O sage, persons who, because of their sinful activities, are adverse to the topics of transcendence, and thus ignorant of the purpose of the Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, are pitied by the pitiable.
mm,
I also pity them because I see how their duration of life is spoiled by eternal time while they involve themselves in presentations of philosophical speculation,
yeah.
theoretical ultimate goals of life, and different modes of ritual.
Yeah. It seems like I've spent my life in a bunch of that,
Right.
to be honest. Text 15. Oh, Maitreya, O friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord.
All of them.
All of them, all topics, everything. I want to know everything.
Hmm. Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation.
Sukadeva Goswami said, the great sage Maitreya Muni, after honoring Vidura very greatly, began to speak at Vidura's request for the greatest welfare of all people.
I need to take a sip of this tea.
So we're about to hear his answer.
Mm-hmm. Text 18.
Yeah.
Sri Maitreya said, O Vidura, all glory unto you. You have inquired from me of the greatest of all goodness, and thus you have shown your mercy both to the world and to me because your mind is always absorbed in the thoughts of transcendence.
O Vidura, it is not at all wonderful that you have so accepted the Lord without deviation of thought, for you were born from the semen of Vyasadeva.
It is not at all wonderful that you have accepted the
I
Lord
know.
without.
I'm trying to like wrap my mind around what he's saying here. It is not at all wonderful that you have accepted the Lord without deviation of thought.
It's not at all wonderful because, of course, he did, because he
Okay.
was born of the semen of Vasudev,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay. That
It's
sounds
like,
right.
of course you do.
Of
Of
course. Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I know that you are now Vidura due to the cursing of Mandavya Muni, and that formerly you were King Yamaraja, the great
Ah.
controller of living entities after their death. You were
Okay.
begotten by the son of Satyavati, Vyasudev, and his in the kept wife of his brother.
Okay. Your good self is one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of
Mm.
Godhead. For whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, left instructions with me. Okay, so he finds out he is one of the associates. So he's probably come down in different incarnations, different times, different universes, and incarnated as one of the associates of Krishna.
Text
That's cool.
22. I shall therefore describe to you the pastimes by which the personality of Godhead extends his transcendental potencies for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic world as they occur one after another.
The personality of Godhead, the master of all living entities, existed prior to the creation as one without a second.
Hmm.
It is by his will only that creation is made possible. And again, everything merges in him. This supreme self is symptomized by different names. I mean, we've heard this over and over. Krishna
Yeah,
is literally everything.
yeah.
Krishna is the universe.
It's like pure transcendentalism.
Yeah.
Text 24. The Lord, the undisputed proprietor of everything, was the only seer.
Mm.
The cosmic manifestation was not present at that time, and thus he felt imperfect without his plenary and separated parts and parcels. The material energy was dormant, whereas the internal potency was manifested.
Okay. The Lord is the seer, and the external energy, which is seen, works as both cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation. Oh, greatly fortunate Vidura. This external energy is known as Maya or illusion, as though her agency
And
only
through and
and
through.
through her agency only is the entire material manifestation made possible.
Okay, well, first
Okay.
off, knowing that Maya is a woman, or at least to
Yes.
her.
Yes, the supreme goddess. Yes.
Okay. Text 26. The Supreme Living Being in his feature as a transcendental Purusha incarnation, who is the Lord's plenary expansion, impregnates the material nature of three modes, and thus by the influence of eternal time, the living entity appears.
Thereafter, influenced by the interactions of eternal time, the supreme sum total of matter, called the Mahatattva, becomes
Mhm.
manifested. And in this Mahatattva, the unalloyed goodness, the Supreme Lord, sowed the seeds of universal manifestation out of his own body.
Wow.
Wow.
I feel like I need to read those last two again. Can we do that? Is that
Yeah.
okay? The Supreme Living Being in his feature as a transcendental Purusha incarnation, who is the Lord's plenary expansion. So, as Purusha, they impregnate the
Mhm.
material nature of three modes, and thus by the influence of eternal time, which resides within that material nature, the living entity then appears.
Okay, the living entities, all the entities that are created.
Okay, can you read 27 again?
Thereafter, influenced by the interactions of eternal time, the supreme sum total of matter, called the Mahat Tattva, became manifested. And in this Mahat Tattva, the unalloyed goodness, the Supreme Lord, sowed the seeds of universal manifestation out of his own body. Okay.
Okay. Therefore, the Mahat Tattva differentiated itself into many different forms as the reservoir of the would-be entities. The Mahat Tattva is chiefly in the mode of ignorance, and it generates the false ego. It is a plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead, with full consciousness of creative principles and time for fructification.
Certification. Is this the hologram program he's talking about here?
The Mahat Tattva
Yeah, is this the Matrix right here
is
being
chiefly
described?
it's we're chiefly in the mode of ignorance,
Right. That does seem like the
and it
Matrix, right?
generates the false ego.
Yeah, the Matrix, right?
The Mahatattva is the via medium between pure spirit, and material existence. It is the junction of matter and spirit wherefrom the false ego of the living entity is generated.
It's the program. Mahat Tattva, or the great
It-
causal truth, transforms into false ego, which is manifested in three phases. cause, effect, and the doer. Let me pause there. Okay. So it transforms into false ego, which is manifested in three phases: cause, effect, and the doer. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculation. The false ego is represented in three different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. This is getting deep now. Now he's
Yeah,
breaking
it
it down. He's
is.
breaking it down deep. I
Yeah,
know. It's like we're taking it slow, everyone, just because this is a lot to really. Okay, I hear what this is saying.
I do
Um,
too.
so this is where the matrix is kicking in, and here's the things that make up our matrix:
Well, and
goodness,
it's the
passion,
false
and
ego
ignorance.
that and it's the
Yeah,
false ego that allows
false
us to
ego.
forget ourselves, right? And
Yes.
not realize our
Yeah,
true cosmic nature.
it's the veil of
M-
forgetfulness.
Right. It's part of the Maya,
Yes.
which it
Okay.
said back there. Okay.
Okay. Go to text 30.
The false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of
Mm,
goodness.
okay.
It's transformed into the mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness.
Okay. The senses are certainly products of the mode of passion and false ego, and therefore, philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of the mode of passion.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
The sky is a product of sound, and sound is the transformation of egoistic passion. In other words, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul, which we just heard him say that he opened up his heart into the sky,
Yeah.
and from that, hmm
Sometimes I will look at the sky because it's blue and I'll be like, that is Krishna, that whole sky. Is that why he's blue? That
yeah.
why they say that? Is
Oh,
that why they say
maybe.
he's the
Oh,
color of the
maybe.
sky? I don't know. Text 33. Thereafter, the personality of Godhead glanced over the sky, partly mixed with eternal time and external energy, and thus developed the touch sensation from which the air in the sky was produced,
Okay, which we
which
talked about this before.
yeah. And recently they've identified the gravitational waves that exist within the universe. And they know that everything now is a wave, as we've been saying, as this has been saying.
Right.
They're starting to confirm this
The
with
science is
science.
catching up.
It's
Right.
so cool. So cool.
Thereafter, the extremely powerful air interacting with the sky, generated from the form of sense perception and the perception of form transformed into electricity, the light to see the world.
Yes. And then there was light. When electricity was surcharged in the air and was glanced over by the Supreme at that time by a mixture of eternal time and external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste.
Which there's that whole like electric universe.
Yes, the electric universe theory is so
Right.
fascinating. It's
And just
so
the
good.
fact that they're coming up that they're talking about the electricity right now is very interesting.
Super cool.
It literally created water and
Yeah.
taste.
It's like the chemistry,
Yeah.
yeah, 30
Thereafter, the water produced from electricity was glanced over by the Supreme. I love that he's just glancing
he's
over all these
glancing.
things, and this is what's
Right.
happening. Was glanced over by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and mixed with eternal time and external energy. Thus, it was transformed into the earth, which is qualified primarily by smell.
What's that even mean?
I don't know.
Same.
Which is qualified primarily by smell.
I don't know. I don't know. Interesting. Okay. What's that mean, everyone? Text 37. O gentle one, of all the physical elements, beginning from the sky down to the earth, all the inferior and superior qualities are due only to the final touch of the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so everything.
In
All the
between.
inferior
Yeah.
and superior qualities are only due to the final touch of the glance. Yes, okay. Just the
The con
glance.
yeah, yeah, that's amazing. The controlling deities of all the above mentioned physical elements are empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu. They are embodied by eternal time under the external energy, and they are his parts and parcels. Because they were entrusted with different functions of universal duties and were unable to perform them, they offered fascinating prayers to the Lord as follows.
Oh, the demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. They
Oh,
always have,
Father. Go ahead.
I was going to say, they always have the best obeisances and
They
prayers in
do.
here.
O Father, O Lord, O personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of
Mm,
miseries.
yeah,
Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, thus and we also thus take shelter of them, which is why they're saying that they couldn't do the duties that they were assigned to, right? Because they're in this material, just because of the material world. And
yeah,
that really it's the devotional service unto him. Perhaps that is what's important. Let's see.
sounds like it. Text 41. The lotus feet of the Lord are by themselves the shelter of all places of pilgrimage. The great, clear minded sages, carried by the wings of the Vedas, always search after the nest of your lotus like face. Some of them surrender to your lotus feet at every step by taking shelter of the best of the rivers, the Ganges, which can deliver one from all sinful reactions.
Simply by hearing about your lotus feet with eagerness and devotion, and by meditating upon them within the heart, one at once becomes enlightened with knowledge, and on the strength of detachment, one becomes pacified. We must therefore take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet.
Yeah. O Lord, you assume incarnations for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. And therefore, we all take shelter of your lotus feet because they always award remembrance and courage to your devotees. Yeah.
O Lord, persons who are entangled by undesirable eagerness for the temporary body and kinsmen, and who are bound by thoughts of mine and I, are unable to see your lotus feet, although your lotus feet are situated within their own bodies. But let us take shelter of your lotus feet. And it's like those moments of ignorance in my own daily life are because I'm forgetting Krishna.
Yes.
You can't have those moments if you're thinking of Krishna. Like
You
yes, you can be
can't.
sad, you can have the array of emotions and think about Krishna, but
Yeah.
just like that ignorance, the me and mine and I
Yeah.
really does dissolve when you
It,
keep Krishna in the seat of your heart.
it definitely does. Text 45. O great supreme Lord, offensive persons whose internal vision has been too affected by external materialistic activities cannot see your lotus feet, but they are seen by
Mm.
your pure devotees, whose one and only aim is to transcendentally enjoy your activities.
Hmm. O Lord, persons who, because of their serious attitude, attain the stage of enlightened devotional service, achieve the complete meaning of
Mm.
renunciation and knowledge, and attain the Vakuna Loka in the spiritual sky simply by drinking the nectar of your
Mm.
topics.
It's really interesting about the word nectar keeps coming up. We were just reading um, about an upcoming talk
Oh, nectar of
by,
devotion.
yeah,
Yeah.
Swami Sarvapriyananda, and he is going to be giving a talk in a couple weeks that we're going to go to. And that is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nectar of devotion. Okay. Text 47. Others who are pacified by means of transcendental self realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of strong power and knowledge also enter into you. But for them there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain.
Mm.
Ah, that's what I was saying about can't I just do bhakti? Can't we just do
Yes.
love? Because it seems easy.
Well, you can. It's said that time and time again.
Yeah,
Like
I
we
know, I
can't.
know, I know. We can.
It seems easy, but it's also difficult, isn't it?
Yes, it's so it's easy to say that it's easy in the sense of when you're in it. It feels so good and blissful. But yes,
Well,
we forget. It's that illusion that we keep coming back to and we keep forgetting.
and it's a retraining of your mind, and for me, it's like my bhakti is tends to go out the window when I am in association with people who aren't in association with
Mm,
Krishna. It's easy for me to hang out with you and be
yeah,
in the loving mood of bhakti, but when
yeah,
I'm with somebody who doesn't or doesn't isn't in association, it's easy to go back to different patterns of thought that I've been using my whole life thus far.
yeah.
You know,
It's
so
true.
it's a practice.
You have your 7-year download, basically, and that's how you
Yeah,
interact with the world. That's how you learn how to. And you keep
yeah,
doing it until you unlearn some of that.
right.
For some
Which
of us, it takes a while.
thank you, Srimad Bhagavatam is a part of this for us, right?
Hare Krishna.
Text 48.
Oh,
Oh, we're, oh,
I
go
thought that
ahead.
was me. Go.
It might be. Go ahead.
Nope, it's you.
It's not. Okay. O original person, we are therefore but yours only. Although we are your creatures, we are born one after another under the influence of the three modes of
Hmm.
nature. And for this reason, we are separated in action. Therefore, after the creation, we could not act concertedly for your transcendental pleasure.
Right, because we are too busy being human.
We're under the false ego.
Yeah,
It's not, I mean,
it's
you
what's
know,
supposed to happen,
yeah.
actually. O unborn one, please enlighten us regarding the ways and means by which we can offer you all enjoyable grains and commodities, so that both we and all other living entities in this world can maintain ourselves without disturbance and can easily accumulate the necessities of life, both for you and for ourselves.
You are the original personal founder of all the demigods and the orders of different gradations, yet you are the oldest and are unchanged. O Lord, you have no source or superior. You have impregnated the external energy with the semen of the total living entities, yet you are unborn.
O Supreme Self, please give us, who are created in the beginning from the Mahat Tattva, the total cosmic energy, your kind directions on how we shall act. Kindly award us your perfect knowledge and potency so that we can render you service in the different departments of subsequent creation. Good question.
Ah, thus
Ah,
ends
thus ends, thus ends. Okay, this is a good stopping part, it looks like. We're going to get
creation,
into it. Yes.
chapter 6, creation of the universal form.
That'll be good. That'll be really good. Wow. I continue to have um I don't know, my mind blown by what we're reading here. And I so enjoy that.
Oh,
That was
so
great.
good. And like only so much of me can truly understand
Yeah,
it.
I
But like
know.
I've said again and again, it's like really just the downloading of the energy that I'm looking for in this first go around. People
Yeah,
read the Srimad Bhagavatam for the rest of their life. So it's not I
right.
highly doubt this is the
Lifetime is
first and
up.
last time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I highly doubt this is the first and last time I'm going to be reciting and reading this. And I look forward to the deeper integration of it each time. But for now, this is perfect.
It's it's so enjoyable to like we've been saying, read it with kind of fresh eyes. Read it for
Yeah.
the first time. It's so surprising and shocking and amazing and just
Yeah.
descriptive and I go on and on about how much I'm enjoying this. So
Mm.
thank you for being with us. Thank you for all your comments and your likes and thank you for subscribing to our channel. Shay, as always, a pleasure. And
Yes.
it's summer, so we are planning on doing maybe a couple extra lives a month. We're gonna
Yes.
have some new videos coming out. We are really looking forward to it. So
We
again,
do. We also have the official Krishna fan club this
yes,
Saturday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is that what we're going to stick with?
I think so. I think so.
Okay. Yep. That sounds
Um,
good.
so please join us there. We love to see you there. And until that time, may the blessings of Krishna, the divine goddess, the universe be with you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.